Good afternoon. Welcome back to Crochet with Lulu and the crew of 5 who are very restless at the moment. While videoing one of my Christmas extravaganza videos, there was a loud boom that kind of had us all excited, I should say. Not in a fun way. But you know, sometimes those things happen, especially when you're having electrical pole work done 2 doors down. So anyways, today's topic is called Let's Get Real. And sometimes I go into that deep thought process, and I probably shouldn't do that. You know my brain and how it works by now. So I probably should not be one of those deep thinkers, but some days I am. I have been, for 2.5 years, I've been on YouTube. I think it's been 2.5 years. And, you know, as a content creator, I can't really call myself a creator. But I put content on. Occasionally I share things with you that I have done, and sometimes in the past and even this weekend I have found myself getting in a tizzy. Don't you love the air quotes? Sometimes I get so flabbergasted and I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to do that somebody else has not already done? That's not important to do what somebody else has not done. Sometimes it's just doing the same project in your way. And sometimes I forget, I'm preaching to myself, so that I can go back and watch this video and maybe take some solace that I'm not so different after all. Sometimes I get in such a tizzy and I want to do things a certain way. And when it doesn't fall into that certain way category, again, the air quotes, I get real upset. And I think we all do that. I think we all go into that state of being that we want. Well, I was trying to fold a simple handkerchief over the weekend. It was my son's handkerchief. And I wanted it folded perfectly. But I couldn't fold that thing perfectly to save my time, because whoever had embroidered his initial on there, it was in such a place that the handkerchief almost had to be folded that small instead of, you know, a perfect hanky in the old days was folded in a square. But this almost had to be folded this small to get that G right in the same spot. So last night I sit here and I was working on a project until my mind and my nerves were just like that. And I thought, why is this so hard for me? I was crocheting a project, not the same pattern that I'm familiar with, but I've crocheted these things for 20-something years, at least 26 years. I have made this very, as I said, not the same pattern, not the same tutorials, but I have made this same project for at least 26 years. But I raveled back, I bet over a dozen times. I even watched a different tutorial. I was raveling, I kept watching it, and I thought, what am I doing wrong? So this morning I picked up my little thing of yarn and I just started crocheting. And I was so at peace. And I'm not trying to be real deep and say go into that Zen moment or that meditational moment, but I guess in a way I am, because once I got out of myself, and when I say that term wholeheartedly, Sometimes we let ourselves get into a project so much that we lose sight of what the project is. It's a project. Projects are made to be changed. When have you ever seen a building be put up in the exact specs that the person that first originally designed it, and it's still the same? There's always a corner, there's always a wall, there's always something changed, and that's in our everyday, whether it's crochet, reading, knitting, sewing, book journaling, junk journaling, all of these projects. That's what they are. They're projects. They're meant to be changed. Something is meant to be changed. Last night I was crocheting and I thought, oh, finally, I'm getting this. I had started this same project probably 2 years ago. So I know that in making this project, and you'll see it at a later date, usually it's a certain thing all the way through, and then the next row is different. You may add a stitch, or you may, and so I knew this, but last night I was letting myself get in the way of this project. This morning it hit me. The fur babies had been there and back in. They were napping. We have a routine here. I mean, we have a set routine. They are serious about, well, I usually say 2 things. They're serious about 3 things. Their food time, their nap time, and their playtime. They are very serious. So while they were napping, they were crowded up against me, and I was turned around facing the wall, and I was just crocheting, and I thought, each stitch, whether I've left it loose or my tension was tight, each stitch is beautiful. And each stitch tells a story. Each stitch builds us up to that finished project or creation. We call ourselves content creators. Each one of us strives to make something different, whether it's a whole different pattern that we think up in our heads and we put it on paper and then we put it into action, or if we take somebody else's creation and we change it and adjust it to fit what we want our project to make. Each stitch tells a story. And I just sat there and I was so at peace with this project. I thought, I have 16 days of my Christmas extravaganza videos already done. And I should have done this last month. I started last month, but I should have had these done months ago, because I've known since probably March. But whose fault is it? It's mine. It's mine. So however we choose to do our projects, keep in mind, it's our project. If we are making it for somebody else, they will never probably, unless they do the same type crafting as we do, whether that's quilting. My quilting friend knows that I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, figuratively speaking, into a project, because I know she's doing the same thing with her projects. So we have to remember, enjoy the process. Whether we don't see, if it's reading a pattern, I'm not good at reading a lot of crochet patterns, but I have begun to understand the amigurumi patterns now. And so I feel confident for the most part. I mean, there's still a lot of ifs, ands, or buts in my amigurumi, but I'm able to I'm trusting the process more. So we trust the process and we love each stitch. Whether we like what that pattern has called for or whether we change that stitch to something we're comfortable in. Enjoy that stitch. Enjoy that junk journaling where you glue something, where you tape something, where you put your washi tape. Wood burning, quilting, wherever you choose to put that, enjoy that process. For me, it's enjoying each stitch. And I thought, how beautiful just this simple stitch is throughout this pattern. Trust the process and enjoy the process. And when you let yourself go out of yourself, does that make sense? And just sit there and just calmly pick it up and do the process, it becomes so enjoyable. Many of you have heard me tell of the story. I had just graduated high school. I went in to apply for a shipping job, which meant I would be packing boxes, receiving boxes, all of those things, working on the shipping floor. I was hired to work in the shipping office. So in doing so, I went and filled in the laundry department, and I became the, if you will, the bookkeeper for the laundry department. So some days the numbers didn't add up. We received jeans or flannel shirts or different type things that we had to be accountable for each piece that come in. And sometimes you got a box that was so jumbled up you didn't know what to do with it. You just had to pull each piece out, write down the numbers, put how many you had, and then apply that into dozens. You know, whether you had 2 of 12 or you had 3 of 12, or if you had 12 of 12, we had to pretty much cipher it into pieces and dozens. Some days my counts just didn't come up. So a very dear special friend of mine that I went to church with and I worked with, she told me one time, I called her in the shipping office and I said, I just can't get this to come out. She said, leave it. If you don't have to have it turned in right now, leave it and then come back to it. She said, I guarantee you tomorrow you'll have better vision and you'll have better thoughts and you'll be able to do it. And by Nellie Bobs, I did. Went in the next morning, I sat down with my pencil because we used pencils. I don't even know if I understood what a computer was exactly back in those days. I sit down with my pencil and my little ad machine and my paper cards, and I was able to figure out exactly what I had done the day before. So that's in everyday processes. Some days in folding a handkerchief, I still didn't get the handkerchief folded, but I bet if I went and got that handkerchief today and sit down and looked at it, I could have it folded properly. Can you tell that bugs me that I didn't fold it? I mean, I'm one of these that all my tags have to be folded a certain way in washcloths, towels, and hand towels, dish towels, what have you. Everything, the tag has to be folded and pointed the same direction. It bugs me to see somebody half-heartedly fold a towel and washcloth. I'm not your girl. I'm not your girl. So anyways, my whole emptying of my heart today is enjoy the process. And when you see the project, I hope I can remember to tell you, this is the project that I was stressing so much about. And some days we become so arrogant. And I messaged my friend this morning because I was laying it all out for her last night. And she's always so calm. She keeps me calm and she keeps me intact with myself. And she said, basically it was, what does it matter? You know, and that's how we should be. Now, I seen that I had left out a stitch, and that would have thrown the whole design loblollied. And so I went back and I raveled out the 2 rows last night, started the 1 row over. This morning I've picked it up and I'm just like, praise the Lord. I'm enjoying the process. I'm enjoying the stitches. Each stitch that we make, whether it's sewing, embroidery, cross stitch, plastic canvas, wood carving, each thing is us. It's a reflection of us. It's our thoughts. If you know, you know. When you're doing a project, all of these thoughts are going through your mind. So each stitch, each thing we do is a reflection of us, whether no one else sees it or not. We know. And sometimes years later, we can go back to that one project and we can say, that's what I was thinking when I was doing that. I remember my thought process when I was making that. I can still, if I seen the bib that I'd done years ago, cross stitch, what I was thinking when I was cross stitching that bib for a friend of mine. His sister was having a baby. So be mindful, trust the process, and enjoy the beautiful process, because that's what it is. It's a journey. It's a journey that we're taking, and we chose to take that journey. We chose to take that path. For me, it's crocheting, my love of crocheting. And some days I think, why do I love it? Why do I love it? But it's that process that gets us to that end. It's the build up, because we build ourselves up to, oh, we want to do this. We want to do this. I had no desire, as many of you know the story. I had no desire to do amigurumi. Last year, I finally sat down and I thought, I'm going to do this and just see for myself if I love it. And I was hooked. I was hooked. I was so hooked that it's in there. It's in there. But I don't forget my first love in the crocheting. And you will see that project, and hopefully in a week or so, I will have it finished and have the Christmas extravaganza video of it done. And I'm hoping you will enjoy making them. I'm going to sign off now because I'm rambling. I'm using a lot of ands, and I hear snoring over here, so they're napping again, so I'm going to be quiet and crochet. Everyone have a wonderful rest of your Monday. It's Monday here. The weather is gorgeous outside. It was so nice earlier. I didn't want to come in, but I knew they needed to come in and get a drink and nap for a while. So everybody enjoy your day. I love you all. I appreciate your comments. I love each and every one of you. As if you were sitting in my room with me when I'm struggling. I love that we all have that connection. And I appreciate you all so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.